How many video games could possibly release with the exact same name? Look, WWF SmackDown released on the PlayStation in 2000. Do you know how many games use that exact title? Just this one. SmackDown is protected. SmackDown has always been protected because the series has always been high quality. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So that's SmackDown. Today, it's the A show. It draws the highest television ratings, it's on the biggest network, it's available in the most homes. Roman Reigns was the man for the better part of a decade. Where was he? Predominantly on SmackDown. SmackDown is protected. But what about Raw? The original flagship program for the WWF, or WWE. The original A show. We're still looking at great TV ratings. Huge stars will still walk the hallowed grounds of the red brand. It's not like Raw has fallen off a cliff. It's still massive on television, still big in the real world. But we don't talk about the real world on this show, do we? No. This series is about video games. In the digital realm, Raw hasn't been so lucky. On the last season of this show, I went as deep as you can go on WWF RAW on the Xbox. I doubled down, hitting WWE RAW 2 as well. But these weren't the first games to carry this mantle. These Xbox and PC offerings were the second coming of the Raw name to the video game landscape. Today, in 2024, we're rewinding time back 30 years to shine a light on the first dance. So grab your Super Nintendo controller, or Sega Genesis if you prefer, get a little something to sip on and sit back. It's time to take a look at WWF RAW. Welcome to Triangle X Squared Circle, the Wrestling Game Retrospective Series. Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. It's worth noting right here at the top that WWF RAW, sometimes called Raw is War, is indeed the final entry in the LJN acclaimed 16-bit WWF video game trilogy. That's a mouthful. I did an episode of this show on 1993's WWF Royal Rumble back in 2020. But the original LJN acclaimed WWF game, Super WrestleMania, I haven't done that one yet. Look, I didn't always have these plans to cover a series and then eventually re-release the linked episodes as separate movies, okay? We will look at Super WrestleMania another time. Don't worry. Today we look at the end of the trilogy. 1994 was a weird time for the World Wrestling Federation, with the world title being traded amongst Yokozuna, Bret Hart, Bob Backlund, and Diesel. Backlund held the belt for just 3 days before dropping it to Diesel at an untelevised house show in a match that lasted just 8 seconds. The Undertaker headlined SummerSlam against The Undertaker. The match was terrible. Aldo Montoya existed. Hakushi looked really cool, but never amounted to much. Duke the Dumpster Droese was literally a garbage man who wrestled. Like I said, shit was weird. Business wasn't great. WCW was growing in popularity. They had just signed the biggest name in WWF history, Hulk Hogan. Times were changing. So how did this all shake out on the video game front? We're coming off WWF Royal Rumble in 1993, right? A fun but limited wrestling game released on the same set of consoles. Despite the infamous and exhilarating steel cage match appearing in video games as early as 1992 on both the Game Boy and NES, the 16-bit Royal Rumble had no cage to speak of. Obviously, this follow-up, this third and final entry in the trilogy would correct that, right? We've got a cage here, don't we? No, we don't. The Sega CD has one. Their entire game is based around it. But no, still no cage here. That sucks. Why am I talking about this first? Because I'm annoyed by it. I don't feel like there's any real excuse to not have it, so yeah, I feel as though my annoyance is justified. So now I'm opening with something we don't have. Beautiful. Let's shift gears. What do we have? Let's focus on what is here. Look, the gameplay is mostly the same from Royal Rumble. Lockups, insane button mashing to fill the meter. Whoever fills it first can hit a move of their choice. What a maneuver! There aren't many differences between Royal Rumble and Raw, but every single wrestler no longer sharing the exact same moveset? Hey, I'll take that. Some guys can spike you with a DDT, others can nail a vertical suplex tombstone thing. What the hell is this? It's almost a Steiner screwdriver, but we're dropping to our knees rather than assing out. This move is awesome. But you know what's really awesome?
The Mega Moves.
No, not finishing moves.
Mega Moves.
Have you ever wanted to spin horizontally like a helicopter before smashing your opponent? Go for it. Yokozuna's big ass jumps sky high and strikes the ground with the impact of a meteor, leveling everyone in sight. Bret Hart hits what is most likely the first ever 630 splash in professional wrestling history. Doink kicks you in the asshole so hard you fly up and over the top rope. These are incredible. I've seen Doink dismember people and stitch them back together into a Frankensteinian abomination over on GM Showdown. But this is out of control. These Mega Moves,
Mega Moves,
are kind of like the precursor to what would eventually become WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. When it comes to the roster, your enjoyment will most likely depend on which era of wrestling you prefer. We've gained the brand new faces of 1-2-3 Kid, Bam Bam Bigelow, Diesel, who was sorely missing from Royal Rumble, Owen Hart, Doink the Clown, and even Luna Vachon, whose inclusion allows for the first ever intergender matches in WWF video game history. That's a nice little tidbit for you. Those are our new faces. Impressive. Very nice. But these additions came at a price. Hulk Hogan is gone. Ric Flair is gone. Papa Shango, The Model, Jim Duggan, IRS, Crush, Randy Savage. They're all out of here. I told you. Your appreciation of the roster is probably going to be based largely on your generational preference. Interestingly enough, Crush and the Macho Man are playable, but only on the Game Gear version of Raw. How strange is that? If you want to get real nuts, like Michael Keaton swinging a fire poker, even Quang was playable with a cheat code on the 32X port of the game. Quang. I mentioned some goofy-ass 1994 gimmicks earlier. Quang didn't make the cut. But yeah, Quang was a thing. If you're noticing a ton of repetition in the arena, that's because this is the only ring and arena in the game. The red ring apron is on brand with Raw is War. I get a kick out of Jerry Lawler and Vince McMahon calling the action at ringside, even though we can't hear them. But answer this question for me. What the hell is the Scratch logo doing here in 1994? Look at that. That's the WWF Scratch logo from the Attitude Era. An insignia that wouldn't make its real-life debut until 1997. How can this be? Did Acclaim and LJN travel forward in time, visit the future, they took a look at that new logo, came back to the past and they planted an Easter egg to be discovered years and years later? No, come on. This is a classic block logo. It's just crudely tilted and skewed even further by the graphical limitations of the era. If you're doubting this explanation based on the fact that even the colors are accurate, you can let that go because they're not consistent. Look at the turnbuckle pads. These are also block logos. They're just warped in the exact same way. Hell of a coincidence though, right? Our standard one-on-one and tag team matches are now bolstered by Bedlam Showdowns, which are full-on tornado tag team action, elimination style, with the brawl style finish. What does that mean? Well, the brawl match type carried over from Royal Rumble. No rules. Go ahead, choke, eye rake, no countouts, no disqualifications. God damn, I love the chair shots. And hey, we got a bucket now too. Look, I've gone back and forth on likes and dislikes, positives and negatives, and there's still more to say. I love the jackknife powerbomb in this game. Brett and Owen's sharpshooter now actually ending a match via submission is an improvement. What is with the constant barrage of air horns and whistles going off in the audience during this game?
One.
This is either the best or worst part of WWF RAW, depending on what kind of mood you're in. It's ridiculous. The back body drop is gorgeous, and hitting it up and over the top rope is one of those retro video game things that I could just look at all day. Oh, that's so much fun. But really, we don't have to baby this game or its developer. WWF RAW, like Royal Rumble, is still quite bland. The characters, even with the varied movesets, are devoid of an identity. Before you type up, "It was 1994, dude, relax," I hear you. I get it, that's fine. And it's no excuse. Look at Saturday Night Slam Masters, a Capcom-developed wrestling game, with its insanely identifiable wrestlers. Look at all of these different arenas we can fight in. Look at the crazy moves, the big sprites, the lively crowd. Slam Masters has barbed wire and landmines, dude. This game came out the year before Raw. So yeah, it's 1994. The technology then wasn't what it is today. I get it. But it's no excuse. It was beyond time for the video games of the World Wrestling Federation to evolve. And evolve they would. WWF RAW would be followed up by WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. A brand new, crazier, sillier approach to the World Wrestling Federation. This time developed by Midway, the over-the-top nature of Saturday Night Slam Masters was here in full effect. I've already covered this game on this show, back in Season 2. That was in 2021. Feel free to check it out. It's a good episode. WWF RAW, though, it's not great. I wouldn't even say it's good. It exists, but even for its time, it felt painfully old. Raw reviewed poorly and didn't sell particularly well either. And how could it? This half-baked, content-light sequel was a full-price release. And no, that price is not a misprint. People forget how expensive video games used to be. This was 1994. That $72.99 is equal to about $151 in today's money. Yeah, keep that in mind the next time you're looking at a $40 game on sale on the PlayStation Network and thinking, I'll wait until it's $30. Royal Rumble got its name from the legendary match type it was based on. I think Raw is similar in the sense that this game got its name from just being undercooked. Thank you for watching another episode of Triangle X Squared Circle, the Wrestling Game Retrospective Series. Honestly, I had a little bit of a hard time writing this episode, as there's really just not that much to say about WWF RAW. We've seen this before, right? So next time, I've got a game where there's plenty to talk about. A game that plays host to some of my most insane personal stories and memories. Prepare yourself for Fire Pro returns. Patreon.com/616entertainment. I could really use your support over there. If you'd like to sign up, there are all sorts of exclusive videos and podcasts and whatnot. Check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.